7 years. That's how long I'd spent building a life, a home, a dream with my husband, Daniel. From the outside, we were the perfect couple. A beautiful home, successful careers, a future everyone envied. But dreams can be fragile. I learned that the hard way, not through a fight or an argument, but through a single cold text message. I need a divorce. I've found someone else. He left me, seemingly out of nowhere, for a woman he'd met at work, a woman named Joan. For a long time, I believed I was the victim of a sudden, brutal betrayal. But the truth was far more heartbreaking. Daniel hadn't just fallen in love with someone new. He had always been living a lie, and I had been paying the price without even knowing it. Our relationship with Daniel had always felt controlled. Not with anger, but with subtle redirection. If I wanted to travel, he'd subtly push for a home renovation. If I suggested a spontaneous date, he'd insist on a rigid dinner plan. He was a master planner, and our life was a finely tuned machine, but I was never quite sure who was truly driving it. He held the purse strings tightly. I always assumed it was for our future. He handled all the investments, the bank accounts. Every time I asked for access, he'd say, "Why bother your pretty head with numbers, my love? I've got this." And I foolishly trusted him. He'd buy me expensive gifts, whisk me away on trips, all on his schedule, with his choices. He was building the life he wanted, and I was just a beautiful accessory in it. My best friend Sophia always said, "May, you feel so distant sometimes, even when you're with Daniel." She saw the invisible wall between us that I couldn't articulate. I felt isolated, constantly performing the role of the happy, perfect wife. The emotional distance grew wider. Daniel spent more and more time at the office, working on big projects. When he was home, he was often on his phone, distracted. If I tried to talk about my day, he'd nod absently, already thinking about his next email. Our intimacy waned. He always had an excuse. Long day. Stressed. I just need my space. I started to feel invisible. I began losing weight, sleeping less. I developed nervous habits, always picking at my cuticles. The house, once a symbol of our shared dream, became my gilded cage. I was financially dependent, emotionally starved, and constantly questioning myself. Am I doing something wrong? Am I not enough? I blamed myself for the growing chasm between us. This slow, silent suffocation was far worse than any argument. There was no direct conflict to address, just a gradual fading of warmth, replaced by a chilling politeness. Then came the text. "I need a divorce. I've found someone else." And just like that, 7 years vanished. He moved out immediately, leaving me alone in our pristine, empty house. It took Sophia and a determined lawyer to peel back the layers of Daniel's deception. I discovered he had drained our joint accounts, moved significant assets into a private account he shared with his new partner, Joan, and systematically funneled away resources for months. The expensive gifts? They were often bought on a credit card he'd later leave me to pay off. The investments? They were cleverly structured to make it hard for me to claim them. He hadn't just found someone new. He had been planning his escape for a long time, meticulously ensuring his new life would be funded by my unwitting contributions. He wasn't building a future with me. He was building a future away from me, using me until he found a replacement. The shock wasn't just about his affair. It was about the calculated, deliberate financial and emotional exploitation. He had never loved me. He had simply used me until he no longer needed me. My grief was now mixed with a potent anger. He hadn't just broken my heart. He had tried to break my spirit and leave me financially destitute. The divorce was brutal, but I fought back. With Sophia's unwavering support and a relentless legal team, we uncovered every hidden account, every manipulated transfer. It was a painstaking process, but we eventually exposed his deceit. The judge saw through his carefully constructed lies. I didn't get everything back, but I secured enough to rebuild my life. I sold the house, the symbol of our false dream, and started fresh. The most painful part? Seeing Daniel with Joan, realizing she was simply the next beautiful accessory in his perfectly curated life. He was repeating the same patterns, drawing her into his web of control and illusion. He never truly connected with anyone. He just sought the next reflection to admire himself in. It took time, but I started to understand. His actions weren't a reflection of my worth, but of his profound inability to truly connect or love. His perfect life was a performance, and I was merely a cast member. My tears eventually dried. My nervous habits faded. I found peace in knowing I was free, not just from the marriage, but from the invisible chains he'd put on my heart. My story is a hard lesson, but an important one for anyone who feels unseen or undervalued in their relationship. Look beyond the surface. A perfect life on the outside can hide deep emotional neglect and control on the inside. Don't let appearances or expensive gifts blind you to a lack of genuine connection and shared power. Trust your gut and your best friend. If your instincts tell you something is wrong, listen. If a trusted friend like Sophia sees an issue, pay attention. That feeling of being distant or invisible is a crucial signal. Financial independence is a shield. Always maintain some level of financial autonomy. Understand your shared accounts, have your own savings, and be aware of joint investments. It's not about distrust. It's about protecting yourself and having options if a relationship proves to be harmful. And finally, remember, their inability to love is not your flaw. Daniel's actions weren't because I wasn't enough. They were a reflection of his own inability to truly connect, to be vulnerable, or to genuinely care beyond himself. Recognize that you cannot fix someone who doesn't see a problem with their own behavior. This is what we explore here on Beyond Emotions, the hidden dynamics that shape our relationships and how we can empower ourselves to find true, healthy connections. If this story resonates with you, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever felt like an accessory in your own life? Thank you for listening.